I started climbing when I was 58 and I summited Everest at 68. It was a 10-year story.
So you were the second oldest woman ever to conquer Mount Everest at the time. What was it like for you finally reaching the summit at your third attempt?
When they got to the summit, the Sherpas got on their sat phone and said, "Summit, summit," just the two words, and he broadcast around the world, which I heard later.
Just received a radio call. Jan Smith is on top of the summit right now.
It was just a magic experience of watching the sunrise on top of the Himalaya on a layer of cloud with little humps of the other peaks of the range popping through, and I did a 360. My camera had run out, just had a few still shots capacity, and I thought I'm never going to be here again. I just have it in my memory like a photograph. And then I cried because I thought, I've made it, is this it? You know, I don't have to do this again, everyone can stop worrying. And then I sort of said to myself, now don't fall over on the way down, because that's when most of the people die, and that's when you see all the corpses as you come down, the people who died on the way down.
So death is a very real risk on a lot of these mountains. Does it make you think about your own mortality?
Yeah, and you know you're taking a risk. Yes, we saw one of the people was a young German who climbed on his own. He'd broken his legs and he was still alive when a previous climber summited, and we saw him. He had a grimace on his face and he was dead. And I heard the discussion about whether they'd send a team up or not, and they decided he was too far gone. It's too difficult to bring a body down or to retrieve someone who's got altitude sickness and broken legs, etc. So it's very close to you, but you become philosophical, like there are car accidents on the road every day as well, but you just drive carefully so it's not you.
Mountaineering seems very much like a solo journey, but I imagine you would make some very strong relationships with the people on the mountain. So
I knew the Sherpas and they knew my pace. They call me Amagaga in Nepali, Tibetan, which means grandma. So they told me, when we're your age, we're dead. So it was quite unusual to have a grandma climbing to these heights. So they adjusted to my pace. But they did want to make sure I'd had a pee before I took off for the summit, because it took me so long to get 6 layers, you know, upper and lower, down, off and up again.
What were people's reactions like when you said that you were going to climb Mount Everest?
Oh, well, they all used to worry and tell you were taking a silly risk, and what about your children and grandchildren and all the rest of it. But my husband's always been my greatest support. He relies on denial a lot, so he never worries. He just said, no, she'll be right, nothing will happen. And nothing has happened, so he's been right, but he's the only one with attitude.
So Dr. Jan, can you tell us a bit about the 7 summits and why you set out to conquer them?
Well, I guess it took me 3 shots to summit Everest, and once I did, I just wondered, what do I do now? And someone suggested the 7 summits, and I thought, well, yes, why not? I can't just do nothing. So I set about doing 3 a year, and I hope to have conquered them all by 70, but I didn't. And I'm 71 now, and I've done 6 out of 7. I still have to summit Denali.
So you most recently returned from an attempt at Denali. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Basically, the last 3 I've been able to do with gardening fitness, but Denali is probably the second hardest after Everest, and it's like that at the top or towards the top, and you need an ice axe, and you're not anchored to the mountain, you're anchored to your team, so if one falls you all fall. And so it's quite a dangerous mountain, and it's more difficult than I realised. I underestimated it. Now I've seen the gradient at the top, I'll do serious mountaineering training.
What's next once you've conquered Denali?
I'm going to write a book called 7 Summits by 70, a little bit of poetic license there, and I don't know, after that I'll wait and see. I'll have to do it first. I won't believe I can do it until I have done it.